Marcus wiped the rain from his face as he drove home from his second job. His truck was old, but it ran, and that was enough. He thought about his daughter, Emma, waiting at home. She was 12 now and growing up without her mother. Life had been hard since Sarah passed 3 years ago, but they managed. The rain was coming down harder now. Through the downpour, Marcus saw something that made him slow down. 2 young women stood beside a broken-down car with its hood up. They wore matching red tops and looked soaked through. Most people would have driven past. Marcus almost did, but he thought of Emma and what he would want someone to do if she was stranded. He pulled over and rolled down his window. The twins were 19, and their names were Rachel and Rebecca. Their father was supposed to pick them up from college, but they wanted to surprise him by driving home themselves. Now their car had died, and their phones were dead too. Marcus looked at the engine. He knew cars from working at the garage on weekends. The alternator had failed, and it was not something he could fix on the roadside. He offered them a ride. Rachel and Rebecca hesitated at first. Their father had always warned them about strangers. But there was something in this man's tired eyes that felt safe, something genuine. They accepted. In the truck, Marcus learned they were studying business at the state college. They asked about his work, and he told them honestly. 2 jobs to keep the lights on and food on the table. He did not complain. He just stated it like fact. Rebecca noticed a photo hanging from his mirror, a young girl with braids and a missing front tooth. That is Emma, he said with the first real smile they had seen. She is my whole world. The drive took 40 minutes. Marcus refused their offers of gas money 3 times. When they arrived at the address, it was a large home in the kind of neighborhood Marcus only saw when making deliveries. A man rushed out before they even stopped. Judge William Harrison looked frantic until he saw his daughters. Then relief washed over his face. He held them both tight in the rain. When he finally turned to thank Marcus, his expression froze. Marcus felt his stomach drop. He knew that face. 3 months ago, he had stood in a courtroom before the same man. A traffic violation he could not afford to pay had snowballed. Judge Harrison had been stern that day. He had looked at Marcus with disappointment and given him community service and a suspended license for 6 months. Marcus had taken the bus to both his jobs ever since. The judge's eyes moved from Marcus to his old truck to his daughters standing safe beside him. Huey said quietly. Yes, sir, Marcus replied. His voice was steady, but his heart raced. Judge Harrison stepped forward through the rain. His face was unreadable. Marcus braced himself for anger or accusation. Instead, the judge extended his hand. Thank you, he said, and his voice cracked slightly. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for bringing them home safe. Marcus shook his hand, surprised. Sir, I should go. Wait, Judge Harrison said. He looked at his daughters, then back at Marcus. Come inside, please, just for a moment. Inside the warm house, Marcus fell out of place. Rachel brought towels and Rebecca made coffee. The judge sat across from Marcus at the kitchen table. I remember you, he said. The courtroom. Marcus nodded. Yes, sir. Judge Harrison was quiet for a long moment. I see hundreds of cases. Most I forget by the next day. But I remembered you. Single father. 2 jobs. You were late paying a fine because you had to choose between that and your daughter's medicine. Marcus said nothing. What was there to say? That was my job that day, the judge continued, to enforce the law. But tonight you had no job, no obligation. You stopped anyway. Marcus shrugged. You gotta believe me. Anyone would have. No, the judge said firmly. Most would not. I drive that road twice a week. I saw at least 15 cars pass before you stopped. His voice grew softer. You lost 6 months of driving privileges because of my ruling. That must have made your life considerably harder. It has been challenging, Marcus admitted. But I understood. I broke the law even if I had reasons. And yet tonight, when you saw my daughters, stranded, you helped them anyway. The judge stood and walked to the window. The rain was finally letting up. When I am in that courtroom, I see cases, not people, he said. Tonight, I see what I should have seen 3 months ago. A good man doing his best. Marcus felt something tight and his chest loosened. The judge turned back to him. Your community service ends in 3 weeks, correct? Marcus nodded. Consider it fulfilled as of tonight. And your license suspension. I am going to review your case. There were circumstances I did not weigh properly. Marcus could not speak. Rachel and Rebecca watched from the doorway. They had not known any of this. The judge continued. I am also going to need someone I can trust. Someone with integrity. My firm handles estate management. We need a driver for client services. Full-time. Good benefits. Real hours so you can be home for dinner with your daughter. It would be a step up from the garage work. Marcus felt tears threaten, but held him back. Sir, I do not want charity. This is not charity, the judge said. This is me recognizing character when I finally see it clearly. And Rachel jumped in, adding, you helped us when you had every reason to drive past. You had nothing to gain, and you did it anyway. Rebecca nodded. That is the kind of person Dad's company needs. Marcus thought of Emma, of being home for dinner, of one job instead of 2, of not being so tired all the time. He thought of how Sarah would have told him to accept help when it was offered honestly. I would be honored, he said finally. Judge Harrison smiled and shook his hand again. This time it felt different, like the beginning of something rather than the end. As Marcus drove home, that night the rain had stopped completely. The stars were coming out between the clouds. He thought about how close he had come to driving past those 2 girls. How easy it would have been. How tired he was. But something his mother used to say came back to him. Kindness is never wasted, even when it costs you something. He had not expected anything in return tonight. He never did. But sometimes the world surprises you. Sometimes the person you help turns out to be connected to the person who can help you. And sometimes a judge who sees hundreds of cases remembers the one that mattered. When Marcus got home, Emma was waiting up. She hugged him tight and asked why he looked different. He smiled and held her close. Tomorrow, he would tell her everything. Tonight, he just wanted to hold on to this feeling. That maybe things were going to be okay. That kindness still mattered in this world. That doing the right thing even when it is hard, even when you are tired, even when no one would blame you for driving past. That it still counts for something. The next morning, Judge Harrison called. They set up a meeting for the following week. Rachel and Rebecca sent a text thanking him again. But the real gift was not the job or the reinstated license. It was a reminder that Marcus had needed, that the way he was raising Emma with kindness and integrity, even when life was hard, that was the right way. That was the only way. And in this world where it is easy to become bitter and closed off, where it is simple to drive past someone else's trouble, the people who stop, who help, who show up even when they are tired, those are the people who change things. One small act at a time. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness. Your story might inspire someone today.